Okay, so here's my review of the all-new iPhone 15. Well, folks, this one is the one to upgrade to, and I'll give you the reasons why in just a moment. Let's jump in. First things first, the price. The iPhone 15 here will run you $799. So let's just call it $800. No price increase on the iPhone 15. Well, in fact, there was no price increase on the Pro models either, except the iPhone 15 Pro Max starts at $1,200 simply because Apple is forcing you to start, with the next config, which is 256 gigs, but I digress there. So $799, same price as last year, but this one does come with some major upgrades that you should keep in mind if you happen to be in the market for either this one or the iPhone 14. Let's say if you currently own the iPhone 11 or the 10 or the 12 and you're debating between the 14 or this 15, well, you should keep 4 words in mind: port, chip, display, and of course, camera. Now, before we even get to develop those main points, let's just talk design overall, right? From the back here, it looks exactly the same as the iPhone 14. This is the 14, this is the 15. You'll see that besides the color, aside from that color, everything else looks the same. But it gets different once you flip them around and you are looking at the face of the phone here. You will see that now with the iPhone 15, you do have the dynamic island, which is a major upgrade, right? Essentially, the iPhone 15 is borrowing a lot of the main features from the iPhone 14 Pro from last year. And with that dynamic island, you get the same features you would get on the iPhone 14 Pro, 14 Pro Max, meaning it interacts with you the same way it would if you were using a 14, 14 Pro, or even a 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max here. Now, the display also does borrow that same level of brightness you have on the iPhone 14 Pro, which is the same as what you have this year, meaning 2,000 nits in terms of brightness. That is extremely bright, meaning if you were under direct sunlight, you would have no issues using your phone. The display will still really pop even under direct sunlight. So that's definitely a plus that you have going for this phone here. And by the way, here's a very quick note for you. You all know that I am super selective when it comes down to recommending accessories in general. Now, that said, I have here one of my all-time favorite accessories. It's a modern and sleek looking aluminum card holder. It's made by Extra. You can see that it's really stylish, it's slim, and most importantly, it is high quality. Also very practical, as it can hold up to 6 cards in that main pocket. You press this button here and they all pop up very well lined up perfectly for you to go ahead and choose one. You can store up to 9 additional cards underneath this design metal plate here, and your cash goes on the other side here. I pretty much use it every day and I genuinely like it. Extra also does have additional premium accessories like this elegant pop-up style Parliament wallet, which is also very stylish and more practical than typical wallets. They even have tracker cards like this one to help you find your stuff. Now, make sure to use my personal link that I have in the description there so that you can save 25% at checkout if you're interested in taking a look at one of these. All right, so the resolution on it is 1157 or 1179 by 2556, I believe. So very nice looking display here. The only problem with the display would be the refresh rate, right? Now, I know some of you don't care, some of you really do care. Personally, I do care, simply because if a phone is costing $800, there isn't any reason why you don't have a high refresh rate on the flagship phone. Because remember, just because it's not the Pro model doesn't mean it's not this is a flagship phone. It's supposed to be a flagship phone, right? And you can't, it almost makes no sense to have a flagship phone here without a high refresh rate. I don't know why Apple does that. I truly don't know why they do that, right? And I hate to, keep beating the same dead horse. Everyone has talked about this, but it's a shame that we don't have, a higher refresh rate here. Sure, Apple has a way to get the display to be calibrated in a way where, it's not as choppy as other 60 hertz displays are, but it's a shame that they still have not brought that up to here. But anyway, so I don't want to linger on that too long. So the display is nice, especially for the regular model. Like I mentioned, it does borrow a lot from last year Pro model, which is a very good thing. Now let's go ahead and talk physical features there. You'd have pretty much the same stuff you have on the iPhone 15 or the iPhone 14, my mistake. So you have pretty much the same stuff. The switch or the mute button that you now have on the iPhone 15 Pro Max is not available here. So on the iPhone 15, you still have the mute switch, just like you did on the iPhone 14 and the previous one. So no action button for the iPhone 15 here. You do have your volume rocker there at the bottom, the same speaker grills, and then your power button on the right side of the phone here. Now, earlier when I mentioned those 4 words, one of them was port. That is one of the major updates that took place with the iPhone 15. You know, we went from a Lightning port to a USB Type-C port, which is a more standardized port, right? I'm happy to see that Apple has finally come around, you know, to implementing or including a more standardized port to its devices. So now you don't have to try to buy a proprietary Apple, you know, cable. You could just buy any USB, any charging cable, and you should be able to use that with your phone. Now, the only difference here, or the thing I should say here, is that you get USB 2.0 for charging here. So same speed as the Lightning port, right? Not any faster. To be honest, I don't think a lot of regular folks are looking for super high speed, you know, charging cables. It would be good for them if they had access to something that could transfer files fast. But the thing is, you know, I don't see a lot of regular folks out there transferring, you know, 50, 100, 200 gigs of, you know, data. But it would be nice if those people could get, you know, faster transfer on their $800 phone. But that's just me. But anyway, so USB Type-C port, that's something that's new there. That's good to see. The next thing is going to be the camera. The camera has been upgraded here, right, compared to what you have here. Now, you do have that same 48 megapixel camera that you had on the Pro model from last year, along with a 12 megapixel ultra wide, right? So better camera than what you had on the iPhone 14. Picture quality is really good, really, like, noticeably good. Video, very good also. I was really impressed with that picture quality. Again, this is a phone that I actually recommend. Next thing we're going to talk about here is going to be the chipset. The iPhone 15 is loaded with last year's Pro chipset, right? The A16, which is a very, very powerful chipset. Now, granted, you're not going to do a ton of things with it because, you know, iOS, just the software itself, kind of restricts some of the things that you can do with that much power. But just know that it's a very, very powerful phone. CPU, GPU performance, off the chart, very, very good stuff. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, I don't want this video to be too long. I'm just going to do a quick recap here. This is one that's kind of a no-brainer to me. I actually recommend this more than I do the 15 Pro Max. In fact, I don't recommend the 15 Pro Max. I haven't recommended that. So if you are moving from an iPhone 10, 11, 12, and you are considering this, or even a 13, and you're considering picking up the iPhone 15, it's definitely a go for me. I would say go for it. The four main things, as I mentioned, that were upgraded include the display, which is a much better display, a brighter display, sharper image, very, very, very good. So 460 PPI, right? So pixel density here is really high up there. Very good display. The port is a major upgrade. Going from a Lightning port to a USB Type-C port is a major upgrade. So you can quickly, you know, use any of the standard cables that you can find anywhere in order to be able to charge your phone. So that's another major point there. The camera, you know, having the main camera being the camera from last year's iPhone 14 Pro model, you know, Pro series, that's definitely a major plus. And of course, the chipset, as I mentioned earlier, is also last year's Pro series, which is already such a powerful chipset and super efficient also, right? So that's something to keep in mind. To me, this is the upgrade that most people should go for. Now, keep in mind also that these colors, look at this one, it's supposed to be pink, but I don't know what it is. It has this pastel look to it, but when you touch it, it feels kind of like a matte, I don't know, like a matte finish brush. No, matte mixed with brush maybe finish, but it feels nice to the hands. But like I said, the colors just don't pop, right? It leans more towards white. I saw the blue when I was at the store, and that one looks really close to white. I mean, I'm not sure if the camera is gonna do it justice, but this is white from last year, and this would be pink. But anyways, that's just my take. Are there things that you would like for me to test out on the iPhone 15? You know, make sure to put those in the comment section. I'll try to get to those and make another video, you know, an update video sharing with you what it's been like testing out the iPhone 15 versus the iPhone 14 here. Make sure to share this video if you know anyone who would be interested. Make sure to like if you haven't done so already, comment like I mentioned. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will catch you in the comment section, like I mentioned. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.